Hey guys, first regardsman here, and I'll be talking about a Death Watch buff to Xenophase Blade build for the Assault class in Space Marine 2 Patch 12 using Furious Strikes, Wings of Flame, and Commitment. Now, Assault this patch, he is a top tier class for sure. He was already in like the S tier in my opinion, but these days it is just undeniable. This guy is kind of on crack now against both Chaos and Tyranids. The perk here, Commitment and Furious Strikes, is just such a ridiculously powerful combo, and on top of that, he also has a perfect animation cancel whenever he jump pack dashes. And what that means is, if you are locked in animation and you use your jump pack dash to dodge at all, you will just cancel out of whatever you're doing. So it is super good in a clutch situation. It will save your life all the time. And it's also usually free because Furious Strike says hitting an enemy with an attack after a jump pack dash restores jump pack ability charged by 1, cooldown is 10 seconds. All you have to do is just cancel with your dash and just hit one guy with a dash attack. Doesn't matter if it's like a Majoris, a Minoris, or anything. You will just get back that jump pack. Really great for like a pinch, and a cooldown of 10 seconds is pretty much nothing. And really, the skill cap in this class went way up this patch, and he is super fun to play, if like a bit harder on this build. Now, for the weapon here, the Xenophase Blade also got buffed up and now has a slightly higher base strength. They upped it by like 10%. They did this mainly because the other balanced weapons got buffed, and this one would have been left behind, and that would have kind of sucked. And now it feels way better as well. The heroic perk effect here is called Ancient Technology. Power rake waves are wider and deal 20% more damage. This is already a pretty good option for like an overcharge build, because the 25% multiplicative damage increase of this perk will affect your power rake, which is a very strong damage increase on top of that. And now with this base damage increase, you will start to like two-shot a lot of enemies in the game. Now, for the perk tree, I do take Armor Strength first, moving here into the perk Master of Offense. After you switch a sword combat style, you will deal 20% more melee damage for 5 seconds. The cooldown is 10 seconds. This perk is really good for getting off like one free 20% boost on a power rake, because usually in Space Marine 2, when you're using the power sword, you will do a dash attack, or you do like a jump combat switch into a dash attack, and then immediately follow up with a power rake, and that is enough for a 5-second period of time to do like one power rake with this buff. Pretty good synergy there. Next perk here is Perpetual Strength, and Perpetual Strength for a 10% melee damage buff. Then I pick up Tranquility into the perk Melee Onslaught for a flat 10% melee damage buff. And then we grab Hard Target, the perk here Cutting Edge for 50% more damage on our power rake. And then I grab the perks Extremis Slayer, Majoris Slayer, and Terminus Slayer. And then I pick up Power Restoration, though you could pick up Speed Restoration. That is up to you. This is just like up to preference. Both of these just double your CHP recovery on the respective weapon type. So, you know, that is up to you. That's pretty much all there is for the Xenophase Blade. Now for the secondary weapon here, I do take the Raven Guard Champion Skinned Firepower Standard Bolt Pistol. Why? Because this weapon has suppressed sound effect and it sounds really cool in this patch, which is why I wanted to use it. And we are building for a Raven Guard Deathwatch after all. And for the perk tree here, I go down the bottom tree first for Great Might into the perk Retaliation. After a perfect time dodge, you will deal 25% more damage for 10 seconds. We are a Wings of Flame build here, so using this perk is just super useful for us. Though if you want to go up here for like better flat damage, you can. You can go all the way down into the perks like Divine Might, but I do think that this one's a little bit better for our build here. Next perk is Iron Grip, up here into the perk Gunstrike Reload. And then we take the perk Increased Capacity, because our ammo reserves are not like super amazing on this option without this. And then I grab the perk here Headhunter into the most important perk Elite Hunter. After killing a Majoris level or higher enemy with a melee weapon, headshots will deal 50% more damage for 10 seconds. Now, all you have to do to actually trigger this is just get a melee finisher on an enemy. You don't have to actually melee kill them. It will work for both though, and also you have to have the secondary equipped to actually trigger this, but on the assault that doesn't really matter because you don't have a primary, so it's pretty much just up all the time after an execute. A really amazing perk. This perk kind of carries the bolt pistol in general, so definitely pick it up. Next perk is Headhunter, and the final perk is Extended Magazine. That's all there is for the secondary. Now for the Assault perk tree, I do start off with something a little bit more dangerous here than Armor Reinforcement, which is the perk Overcharge. Damage from held and charged melee attacks increases by 25%. This is one of the best melee perks in the entire game. It's a 25% multiplicative melee damage bonus to like some of the heaviest hitting attacks in the game, and especially with the Xenophase Blade, you are all about the power rakes with Ancient Technology, so buffing those up is super damn useful and it stacks very well. And at the moment, you can hit a ton of guys, even on Chaos and Tyranids, for a tremendous amount of damage with this perk. It is my preferred in the Xenophase, and it's really damn fun to use. Now, if you do take this perk instead of Armor Reinforcement, because this one is still totally viable, you can still use this versus Chaos and Tyranids and be just fine. But if you don't take this one, I would definitely pick up Defense Mechanism like I did, because having a slower CHP fade will just make it way easier to just stay alive and not lose HP, especially when you don't have any armor bonus on. Next perk here is Active Attrition. Enemies hit by damage from melee attacks, executable, sprinting, or dashing take 25% more damage for 5 seconds. This is just a free damage debuff on the enemy. So basically what happens is when you do your lunging attack on a jump pack dash or like a normal dash attack, you will then apply a 25% damage taken debuff on the enemy for 5 seconds. That will also affect gun strikes, so pretty good catch-all here. But if you want to take like the perk here, Knowledge of the Enemy or Perseverance, you can. They're all decent options. Next perk here is Strategic Strikes. All teamers deal 20% more melee damage against extremists and terminal enemies. I would say it's really between this perk or Proven Efficiency still for a 30% increase in your gun strike damage. Both are quite good on this build. I just want to go for full melee on top of Active Attrition into my power rakes, which is why I picked this one up. Next perk here is pretty much mandatory in my opinion with Furious Strikes. This perk is brand new and it is godly. This is one of the best perks they've ever added to Assault. It may not be the easiest to use for some players. I do think the perks like Smiting Angel, Zealous Blow, and Pride and Duty are an easier combo for most. But if you are comfortable using Wings of Flame, if you know how to use the jump pack dash properly, this is by far the best option. It lets you go jump pack positive even, because basically, if you use the perk here, Commitment, which says a perfect time dodge using a jump pack dash for jump pack's ability charged by 1, you will be able to then go into a jump pack dash attack immediately off the free jump pack here, which means you are now up effectively 1 jump pack for like 2 total charges, which is very, very strong. And that allows you to do things like go back into a ground pound and just kind of like cycle back into this. So really good for Wings of Flame builds. And now they are just a godly combo, and they're already pretty damn strong. Next perk here is Wings of Flame. A jump pack dash damages enemies' launch trajectory and always works as a perfect dodge when dodging an attack. This perk is just free damage against Majoris, Extremis, and even bosses. You don't have to take this perk if you don't want to, because Furious Strikes and the perk down here, Commitment, do work on their own, but this perk does just make it way more effective and far easier to pull off, so kind of a no-brainer for this build. Next perk here gives you 30% more damage for 10 seconds on a perfectly timed dodge using a jump pack dash. This is just a free damage catch-all. It is nice for your range damage and melee damage, and does help out against bosses and stuff like that. And Pride and Duty and Diligence still work on this build. I just think this one's a bit better. And that's pretty much all there is for the perk tree setup here. Now, for our prestige perks, so number 1, Unyielding Oath. When charging a ground pound, you become invulnerable for 3 seconds. This perk will save your life all the time. It pretty much makes the entirety of your jump pack ground pound invulnerable, because you already have iframes on the landing. If you have iframes on the trajectory as well, it's pretty damn hard to die the moment you go up, so definitely pick this up. Now, in patch 11, we would take Adrenaline Boost, but in this patch, we're going to be taking Hammer of Wrath instead. Now, this perk got added to the Prestige perk tree this patch here, and this one says, after using your jump pack, you will take 30% less range damage, and you don't lose control heavy hits, and you cannot be knocked back for 15 seconds. This one is up pretty much 24/7. It will trigger off a jump pack dash, not just like a ground pound, so you'll pretty much have this up all the time, and that makes Adrenaline Boost completely redundant, because you'll have no knockback active from this for even longer, and I pretty much always pick this up, because a 30% range damage reduction for free basically is incredible in this game, and this one will save your life, especially versus Chaos. Now, the next perk I take here is Fortitude. Health increases by 15%, because health increases in Space Marine 2 are very valuable. And the final perk is up to you. You could take Scramble Targeting or Practice Aim. Practice Aim is pretty good, that's what I took here, but Scramble Targeting will up you to like a potential 50% range damage reduction, which is incredible against Chaos. So if you want to do that, you definitely can, but that is up to you. That's pretty much all there is for this build, guys. Hey guys, first Guardsman here, and so I'll be talking about a Heroic Thunderhammer build for the Assault class in Space Marine 2 patch 12.1. Now, the Heroic Thunderhammer is actually the best fencing hammer in the game, mainly because the stat spread here is just a strict upgrade over the Relic tier, and because of our low base damage on fencing options, I do generally build around gunstrike damage for these builds, so we'll be doing that today. Now, for the perk tree here, we do have the Heroic perk effect, Electrified Thunderclap. Fully charged attacks leave behind a shock grenade effect. Now, on the Assault class, this will actually leave a shock area on your ground pound as well, and it will also leave a shock area for any aftershock slam you do. This will not function for ground slam at all, ground slam being like the basic heavy attack of the Thunder Hammer, and ground pound being the jump pack ability of your Assault. It can get a little bit confusing, but the big thing here is your ground pound, that will leave a shock area, and aftershock, which is the charge attack of this weapon, will also leave a shock area for every single smash. So aftershock improved to give you 2 shock areas, and you also don't have to charge them up at all. It gives you like any amount of charge. So the description here is actually a little bit incorrect, but that's how the heroic perk effect works. And now for the main perk tree, I do take Perpetual Strength first for a 5% melee damage increase. Then I pick up the perk here, Fast Preparation. Aftershock preparation time is reduced by 30%. We are an Aftershock build here predominantly, so definitely pick this perk up. And to be honest, pretty much always pick this up on like any Thunderhammer build, because Aftershock is good on every single variant. Now, the next perk here is Perpetual Strength, and Perpetual Strength again for a 10% melee damage increase. And then I pick up the combo Shattering Impact and Seismic Chain. Seismic Chain just gives you an additional Ground Slam after the initial one, and Ground Slam is the base heavy attack of this weapon. Like, you go light attack into a charge attack, and you immediately get this out. You can do another charge attack after that. And with an 8 speed here, it's actually a very fast weapon attack, so definitely a good option for us. And Shattering Impact just gives you more AoE on those actual Ground Slams, so even better. Next perk here is Perpetual Strength down here to the perk after Aftershock. After hitting an enemy with the Aftershock, you deal 10% more melee damage for 10 seconds. This is a pretty good perk because you don't actually have to hit them with the slam of your Aftershock here. When you do an Aftershock charge attack, you will bring up the pommel of your weapon first and then come down for the slam, and that initial pommel hit will actually trigger this perk, so pretty good. Next perk is Kill Streak into Aftershock Improved for an additional smash on your Aftershock. You pretty much always pick this up, but you definitely want it on the Heroic Thunderhammer because it will give you an additional shock area. That's kind of like the whole point of using this in the first place. Next perk here is Minora Slayer up here into Majora Slayer, and that's all there is for the Heroic Thunderhammer build. Now for the secondary, I do take the Heroic Heavy Bolt Pistol, mainly because this weapon has the highest gunstrike damage in the entire game, and I am building around gunstrikes on this build today. And on top of that, the Heroic perk effect, No Help is Coming, is incredibly useful. Being able to one-shot reinforcement calling enemies is just super good in Space Marine 2. Reinforcement calling enemies happen all the time, and also actually effectively save you ammo by preventing those enemies from calling those reinforcements, and also on lethal difficulty and above, you will have enemies go enraged pretty much guaranteed off a single interrupt, so being able to one-shot them removes an enraged enemy on top of the horde, so really good value here. Now I will say, if you're fighting Chaos, Plasma and Inferno can definitely be better, because having a stagger option for missile terminators and things like Chaos Spawn can be really good for you, but on this build against Tyranids, I think this one's the best option for the game. Now, for the perk tree here, I do take Divine Might first, moving here into the perk Perpetual Penetration. Then I pick up Increased Capacity, Extended Magazine to Death Strike. Now, I really do think on most builds, going these first 5 perks is just the best option overall, because the only real decision to make is like, do you want to pick up Able Damage, or do you want to go up here for things like Discipline and Headhunter instead? Now, Able Damage will give you a 20% damage increase for using your class ability, and on Assault, you use your class ability all the time with things like Zealous Blow and Furious Strikes, so a really good option here for us, which is why I pick it up on him. Though even on the Assault class, you could skip over this perk and go up here instead for Discipline and Headhunter, because these are also very strong options. The final perk, however, is always the same, which is Tactical Precision, which is a headshot damage increase of 20% and non-headshot damage decreasing by 10%, because having a 20% increase in your headshot damage is pretty much all that matters on this weapon, so I pretty much always pick this up. But you know, if you want to go up here and just like skip over this perk and take Discipline instead, you could definitely do that, but I pretty much always pick up perks like Death Strike, because a 25% damage increase on killing a Majoris and melee is very strong and also triggers off a finisher, and that's pretty much all there is for the secondary here. Now for the Assault perk tree, you do have a couple options in the first column. You could take Overcharge first if you want. This is a 25% multiplicative melee damage increase to your held and charged melee attacks. That includes your Aftershock and Ground Slam, so it is pretty good on the Thunderhammer, but to be honest, With a base strength of 11 on the fencing versions, I don't think it's worth taking here over things like armor reinforcement, because this one will give you 1 armor back for every non-finisher gun strike, which is a very powerful effect in Space Marine 2, mainly because any amount of armor remaining in this game will reduce all incoming melee damage to 0 even from bosses, and it will also help you damage cap against range. And we do have a fencing weapon, so pulling off gun strikes is incredibly easy, so I'm picking this one today. Next perk is Auxiliary Arsenal. Secondary weapons damage increases by 20%. You can really take whatever you want in this column. They are all top tier effects. Defense Mechanism is amazing for survivability, and Consecutive Execution can give you 90-second melt-a-bombs, which are incredible in this game as well. And mainly because a melt-a-bomb will just remove a Lictor, Ravener, Melee Terminator, and stuff like that from the game for you, so a really powerful effect. Next perk here is Active Attrition. Enemies hit by damage from melee attacks, executable, sprinting, or dashing take 25% more damage for 5 seconds. This applies a debuff to the enemy hit that will affect them for your entire team, and on top of that, it will also buff up your gun strike damage dealt to them, so pretty great for us all around. And we are taking things like Furious Strikes and Commitment on this build later, so really good synergy there on top of that. Next perk here is Proven Efficiency for 30% more gun strike damage because we are a gun strike build, and the next perk here is Furious Strikes. Hitting an enemy with the dash attack after a jump pack dash restores jump pack's ability charge by 1. The cooldown is 10 seconds. This perk is just god tier in patch 12 and patch 12.1. If you have this with Commitment, you can go jetpack positive. That means the jump pack dash you get for free off of this perk can then lead into a jump pack dash attack, and that will give you an extra jump pack on top of it. So really good for any build on the Assault ever. If you want to skip over this, if you really want to go like full ground pound, because I am taking Zealous Blow here, you could take Smiting Angel instead, but to be honest, I just think this perk is too strong to not take currently. Now, the next perk here is Zealous Blow. A ground pound kill restores jump pack's charge by 10%. I'm mainly taking this because on a Heroic Thunderhammer, you do want more ground pounds because that means more shock areas. That's kind of the whole point of using this in the first place. But if you want to take Wings of Flame instead, you could do that because Wings of Flame right now with Furious Strikes, with Commitment, is just a god tier perk combo. We know that is up to you. The next perk here is Pride and Duty. After a finisher, ground pound deals 25% more damage for 10 seconds. Having a little bit of extra ground pound damage here is very nice, and this will trigger on any finisher in the game. It doesn't matter if it's like a Minoris, Majoris, or Extremis, so really good all around. And the final perk is Commitment, because this just enables Furious Strikes, and right now this is one of the best perks in the whole game for Assault, because Assault's jump pack dash in patch 12 does have an animation cancel, and that means you can now jump pack dash out of any animation you're doing, and this perk lets you do that for free on any build if you time it properly. So that's why we picked this up here. Though if you do want to skip over these perks, you could take like Ample Ammunition with Smiting Angel. These are also quite strong, but Furious Strikes and Commitment, I think this is overall the best currently. Now for the Prestige perks here, I do take Unyielding Oath first. When charging a ground pound, you become invulnerable for 3 seconds. This perk pretty much makes you invulnerable the entire trajectory of your ground pound. That is very useful for keeping you alive, and we are a ground pound build after all, so kind of a no-brainer here. Next perk is Fortitude for a health increase of 15%. Into the perk Scramble Targeting or Practice Aim, you could take either one of these. These are both pretty damn good. Scramble Targeting is obviously a bit safer, and Practice Aim just gives you a bit more damage. Now the next perk here I would pretty much always take, and that is Hammer of Wrath. After using your jump pack, you take 30% less range damage, do not lose control from heavy hits, and cannot be knocked back for 15 seconds. This perk is incredible. This is probably the best prestige perk on this entire class at the moment besides Fortitude, mainly because a free 30% range damage reduction on every jump pack use is just a ridiculously good effect, and no knockback is something you want all the time, and this one is kind of like completely replaced Adrenaline Boost as like the major pick for a no knockback perk on this class in general. And also you can trigger this off of like any jump pack dash and ground pound, so it's really good and way better than it sounds initially. And that's pretty much all there is for this build, guys. The Heroic Thunderhammer is pretty fun. I do think this weapon is better on Bulwark than Assault, mainly because Assault just gets way less out of shock than Bulwark does, because Bulwark has like Shock and Awe and Emergency Countermeasure here, so I do think it's a little bit better over on this guy, but Assault can still take advantage of this, and Assault does have way more synergy for gun strikes on this option, and that's why we're building around that today. Hey guys, first Guardsman here. I'm going to be talking about a Thunderhammer Assault build for Space Marine 2 patch 12.0. Now in patch 12 of Space Marine 2, all the balanced weapons got a base damage buff. That does include the Thunderhammer, and now this one can actually hit breakpoints with the Overcharge perk here, do one combo Majoras, which is pretty damn nice, and we'll be building around that today. Now, for the perk tree on this variant, we have chosen Perpetual Strength first for a melee damage increase of 5%, moving here to the perk Fast Preparation. Aftershock preparation time is reduced by 30%. This perk is pretty much mandatory in my opinion, because without this, your Aftershock prep time just feels god-awful. Speed stat does not affect that at all, so it doesn't matter if you're using like a block variant, a fencing variant, or a balanced version, your Aftershock will just come out at the same speed, so this one will help you the most, so definitely pick it up. Next perk here is Perpetual Strength again, moving here to the perk Shattering Impact and Seismic Chain. Now, Shattering Impact gives you your Ground Slam and AoE radius increase of 50%, and Seismic Chain gives you an additional Ground Slam. Now, with a speed of 7 on the balanced variant, this feels really good. I'm already a fan of this on the block version, but on the balanced hammer, your attacks are so quick compared to the block that you really get full benefit out of this. And on top of that, this is buffed up by the Overcharge perk, and your base damage is actually higher on this weapon currently than the block hammer. So like without Adrenaline Surge charges, you're hitting harder on this hammer, which is pretty damn cool, and that makes your ground slams kind of hit like a truck. Next perk here is Perpetual Strength again, moving here to the perk Aftershock. After hitting an enemy with Aftershock, you will deal 10% more melee damage for 10 seconds. Now, the way Aftershock works in this game is that the first attack of your Aftershock is actually you bringing up your hammer, and because of that, if that hammer hit actually hits, or like the pommel I should say, if the pommel hit of your hammer hits when you're bringing it up for the Aftershock slam, you will get the 10% damage bonus off of that, so just keep that in mind. Way better than it sounds initially. Next perk here is Kill Streak, moving here into the perk Aftershock Improved. Aftershock gains an additional smash. I pretty much always take this because Aftershock is one of the most damaging abilities on the Thunder Hammer anyways, and this just makes it way better, so definitely look into this one. Next perk here is Minora Slayer, up here into the perk Majora Slayer, and then I finish off with the perk down here, Dead End, for 50% more damage on Pommel Smash. Now, Pommel Smash is just the lunging attack on the Thunder Hammer. You don't have to take this if you don't want to. I'm mainly taking this because I am using the Furious Strikes Wings of Flame build, so having a better damage on our Pommel Smash does help out quite a bit. But if you want to like swap this out for the perk over here, Perpetual Strength, for like 5% more base damage, you can definitely do that. Maybe not like base damage, like 5% extra damage. That's pretty much all there is for the Thunder Hammer here. Now for the secondary, I also take another buffed weapon this patch, which is the Inferno Pistol. Now all Inferno Pistol gun strike damage got upped by 22% this patch. It feels way better now. I was already a fan of this weapon on Assault before, especially versus Chaos, but this patch, it is seriously overperforming. I might even put this in like a top tier echelon for the secondaries in the game currently, because it has great stagger, pretty good gun strike damage, and amazing ammo economy. And the only thing that's really lacking is like range damage against Zoanthropes, but I did take this build to the the Vortex Beast today, so using this was like kind of a no-brainer. Now for the perk tree, I do skip over the perk here, Motivated Melee. Melee damage increases by 20% if this weapon has no ammo in its magazine. A lot of people want this perk. They think this perk will like up their damage tremendously. It really does not do a ton in this game. The damage calculation for this perk is not that high. It is not as good as it might sound initially, so I do go down here for extra range instead, because I think range on your Inferno Pistol is just way more important. Next perk here is Brace Reload, going here to Perpetual Range again, up into Great Might. Then we grab Increased Capacity and Adamant Restoration. When your health drops below 30%, your ammo reserve is restored by 25% of the maximum capacity. Cannot exceed maximum ammo capacity, the cooldown is 30 seconds. This is the only form of ammo regen like this on any secondary in the game. It is part of what makes the Inferno Pistol so damn ammo efficient, on top of just like the fat magazine capacity and ammo reserves on this one. So picking up this, kind of a no-brainer here. Next perk here is Extra Shot for an additional cartridge, and the final perk is Trick Shot. Killing 5 enemies with 1 shot restores an armor segment. The cooldown is 30 seconds. This perk is also incredible. Free armor every 30 seconds attached to a secondary is really, really good in this game. And armor on Assault especially is quite valuable, because even though he is quite tanky, it's not really because of his like direct damage reductions, because of armor regen and things like range damage reduction. So that's pretty much why we take that. Now for the Assault perk tree here, I do take Overcharge first. Damage from held and charged melee attacks increases by 25%. This is one of the best melee perks in the entire game. It is a 25% multiplicative melee damage increase. Most other damage increases in this game are additive. This one is just significantly better because of that. And Overcharge is also what allows you to hit breakpoints on the balanced Thunder Hammer that other weapons simply cannot. Next perk here is Defense Mechanism. Contested health fades 50% more slowly. Now, when you're using Overcharge, you are giving up armor reinforcement for that damage, so having this can help you survive quite a bit especially on the Inferno pistol, because the Inferno pistol is a fairly low rate of fire on this variant, and having defense mechanism kind of makes up for that. Though I will say, if you want to skip over this perk and take consecutive execution instead, you can definitely do that. This perk is also quite strong, and having melta bombs attached to this is a really powerful option for this build, but you might have a significantly harder time dealing with your contested health here. Next perk here is Active Attrition. Enemies hit by damage from melee attacks executed while sprinting or dashing take 25% more damage for 5 seconds. This will apply a debuff to the enemy hit for your entire team. Now, the reason I take this is because, number one, I'm building for Dead End on our Thunderhammer here, and number two, we are using the Wings of Flame Furious Strikes commitment build, so kind of a no-brainer to get, like, build into dash attacks. But I will say, if you want to take Knowledge of the Enemy or Perseverance, you could do that too. That is up to you. Next perk here is Strategic Strikes. All team members deal 20% more melee damage against Extremis and Terminus level enemies. This perk is very strong in this game. Getting a 20% damage buff against Extremis and Terminus is like heavy hits against enemies you want to kill the most, so definitely grab this one. Though if you do want to pick up Proven Efficiency, I don't think it's the best on this build, but it's definitely not terrible. Next perk here is the brand new perk Furious Strikes. Hitting an enemy with an attack after a jump pack dash restores jump pack's ability charged by 1. The cooldown is 10 seconds. This perk is god tier. It does not matter if you have commitment. It does not matter if you hit a Majoris or an Extremis. You can literally just jump pack dash a Minoris enemy, smack them in the face, and get a free gap close plus like ability recharge here, which is just a god tier combo in Space Marine 2. But what really makes this thing a god tier perk is when you combine it over here with the perk Commitment. A perfect time dodge using a jump pack dash restores jump pack's ability charge. When you take this perk and you get a positive jump pack from a perfect dodge on this, and you also hit them with a dash attack immediately after, you are now up a free jump pack. Because of that, you are getting double like the potential ground pounds, extra options for Wings of Flame for damage on the actual dash attack itself. And Wings of Flame is already a really good perk in this game. When you go jetpack positive with Furious Strikes on top of that, it is just so much free damage that you will melt bosses like Carnifexes, you will melt bosses like Hellbrutes, you will melt the Vortex Beast, which I do in this video, so hopefully this gives you a better idea of how you want to actually play this. Now, the next perk here is, of course, Wings of Flame. A jump pack dash damages enemies along its trajectory and always works as a perfect dodge when dodging an attack. Right now, this perk gives you so much free damage because of how many extra jump packs you're getting off of Furious Strikes and Commitment that not taking it is kind of insane. You could take Zealous Blow with this build. I would probably only take Zealous Blow on Siege mode, but in like operations, Wings of Flame is just way better right now. You get so much free damage off of this, it's just kind of a no-brainer. Next perk here is Aerial Grace. After a perfect time dodge using a jump pack dash, you will deal 30% more damage for 10 seconds. We are a jump pack dash build, so 30% damage buff here, pretty nice. And the final perk is Commitment for the reasons I previously mentioned, and that's pretty much all there is for the main perk tree. Now, for the prestige perks, I do take Unyielding Oath first. When charging a ground pound, you become invulnerable for 3 seconds. This is just nice for like the occasions you do actually use a normal ground pound. All you have to do is hold your ground pound button for like a split second here, and you will just immediately start charging up your Thunderhammer, and because of that, you'll be basically invulnerable the entire trajectory of your landing, which is really nice in this game, and I do think it's better like Adrenaline Boost right now and Duelist, though if you want to take Duelist, you definitely could. Next perk here is Fortitude for health increase of 15%. Then I pick up the perk Practice Aim for range damage increase of 15%. And the final perk I grab is Hammer of Wrath. After using your jump pack, you take 30% less range damage and don't lose control from heavy hits and cannot be knocked back for 15 seconds. This is just the new God perk on the Prestige perk list for Assault. This has practically just replaced Adrenaline Boost for me and like most players, because this will trigger off of every single jump pack use, and that includes jump pack dash. So every free jump pack you get, you are getting a 30% range damage reduction, and you are also getting no knockback for 15 seconds. That is just such a value combo that makes you so damn tanky against so many enemies in this game. And Hammer of Wrath was already a really good perk, but instead they just replaced it with a god tier perk and put it in the prestige perk tree for free basically. So assault stocks are just way up, and that is pretty much all there is for this build, guys. Honestly, this is one of my favorite builds in Space Marine 2 currently, and really any Wings of Flame build at the moment, it's just super fun to play. I mean, on the animation cancel side of things, they did add an animation cancel to the Assault class I do want to mention here for a split second, because basically now in patch 12, whenever you jump pack dash in this game, you will just cancel out of any animation. That means you can be charging up your Thunderhammer and be totally fine off a single press of your ability pack. That is really powerful. Hopefully this build guide helped you. Hey guys, first Guardsman here, and I'll be talking about the best Power Fist Assault build for Space Marine 2 patch 12.1. Now, the Power Fist got even stronger this patch on its balance variant. All of the balanced weapons in Space Marine 2 patch 12 got like a 15% buff to their base damage. That is tremendous in this game. This one now has a 19 strength versus the block version 17 plus base strength. These ones actually hit harder in base now without Adrenaline Surge stacks than the block versions do, which is pretty insane to say the least. And on top of that, you get a 7 plus speed and a 12 plus cleaving potential. So when it comes to Horde Clear with Power Waves, this one's just the best. Now, for the perk tree here, I do take the perk Perpetual Strength first, moving here into the perk Heavy Preparation. Heavy attack preparation time is reduced by 30%. Heavy attacks are pretty much all you do on this weapon still, even with a 7 plus speed, so definitely pick this up. And the next perk here is Perpetual Strength and Perpetual Strength again for a 10% melee damage increase. And then I pick up the perk here, Focus Intention. When your health is below 30%, you take 50% less health damage while preparing heavy attacks. The way you usually use a Power Fist in this game is that you will charge up your Power Fist while you are taking damage. This will help you trade with enemies and get executes very easily, so being able to have a free damage reduction on that is very strong in this game. One of the best perks, actually. Next perk here is Tide of Battle. Power Wave forward distance increases from 4 to 8 meters. Now, the Power Wave is just the attack that goes out when you do a charge attack with this weapon, and the description here is actually wrong. It goes from 10 to 20 meters, so your thrust jab, your charge attacks with the Power Fist basically hit like a ranged weapon with this perk, and like really in base with like 10 meters, they already hit like a ranged weapon. It really is one of the strongest attacks in the game, because you can basically just charge up an attack, punch one enemy, and punch like 17 enemies behind them because of your massive fat cleaving potential, and one shot practically all of them. So really god tier perk. Next perk here is Strength of Will. While performing a heavy attack, you take 20% less range damage. This is just a free range damage reduction on top of Focus Intention, so really nice to have these two together. And the perk up here, Following Blow. Back Fist and Back Fist 2 can be performed instantly after a charged thrust jab or hammer hook. This is just a free follow-up attack. Occasionally this will help you hit some breakpoints, so pretty good here as well. And the final two perks are Combo, which really does nothing for us, with Majora Slayer, which is a 10% buff against Majoras and, you know, enemies like that. So really good option here for us as well, because this will help you pick up a couple breakpoints, at least on the block version. Now, the only thing I would ever change on the perk tree for a Power Fist is if you're using the heroic variant, I would skip like maybe the perk down here, Strength of Will for Cannon Punch. But to be honest, I think this is just the best setup for like all the Power Fists in the game currently. Now, for our secondary here, I do take the heroic Heavy Bolt Pistol. This currently has the highest gun strike damage in the entire game, and the heroic perk effect down here, No Help is Coming. Shooting an enemy with the Elite Scream status stops her from calling for reinforcements, and headshots will kill in one shot. Being able to one-shot a reinforcement calling enemy in this game is really satisfying, to say the least. And on top of that, you really realize how many enemies call reinforcements in this game when you play with this gun here, and then you take it off for a little bit. You'll realize, like, wait a second, I can't one-shot them anymore. So a really fun perk effect. This is one of my preferred secondaries in the game currently. Now, for the perk tree here, I do take Divine Might first. Moving here into the perk Perpetual Penetration, I pretty much build all the way down the bottom tree because for the most part, the top tree kind of sucks. Like Headhunter is okay. The perk here, Adamantine Grip, does very little for you, even with like a 4 accuracy on this weapon. And the perk here, Rapid Health, is like not the most practical thing ever on a Heavy Bolt Pistol secondary, especially for the heroic version. And things like Remote Threat are okay as well, but I think the perks down here, like Divine Might for a 10% buff into the perk here, Death Strike, are just way better, because this one says after killing Majora's level or higher enemies in melee combat, you deal 25% more damage for 10 seconds. This is just a way better buff than the top tree here, so I would definitely pick this up. And the next perk here is Great Might. Up here to the perk Discipline. When you have low ammo, you deal 25% more damage. A 25% buff for just using your gun more is really strong. You can definitely tell when this perk is active, like your damage will go up substantially, so a really good effect here. And next perk here is Strong Finish. Into the perk Headhunter, Gunstrike Reload for free reloads on Gunstrike. And the final perk, Tactical Precision. Headshots deal 20% more damage. Non-headshot damage decreases by 10%, because headshot damage is still all that matters on this gun. Now, alternatively, if you want to take a plasma pistol, you could build for rate of fire with this perk tree, or the Inferno pistol, you could build it like this, or even like a Neo Volkite. I would build it this way to hit like the proper breakpoints on the AoE explosion for my Norris, and for the Bolt pistol, I would probably build it something like this, or you could go down here for like retaliation to great might. So that is up to you as well, but today I'm taking this one. Now for the assault perk tree, I do take the perk overcharge first. Damage from held and charged melee attacks increases by 25%. This is one of the strongest melee perks in all of Space Marine 2. It is a 25% multiplicative melee damage increase to your heaviest hitting attacks on your incredibly heavy hitting balanced power fist already, so definitely pick this up. The only thing you're really losing here is the perk armor reinforcement for armor on gun strikes, but to be honest, we can make up for that loss in survivability by picking up the next perk here, defense mechanism. Contested health fades 50% more slowly. This will make it much easier for you to get free trades on enemies. You'll be able to charge up your power fist, not worry about losing your contested health nearly as much, and get a free execute off of the trade. So a really good perk here. But if you are more comfortable, you could pick up things like Auxiliary Arsenal or the perk down here, Consecutive Execution, for 90-second melt-the-bombs, cracks, shocks, and frags. Now, the next perk here is Knowledge of the Enemy. Melee damage increases by 15% against Majoris or Extremis level enemies. This is just another free damage increase for your Power Fist. I just like to pick this one up, though I will say Active Attrition and Perseverance are also pretty decent options. Next perk here is Strategic Strikes. All team members deal 20% more melee against Extremis and Terminus level enemies for your damage here. That is just another free melee damage increase. You kind of get the whole idea of the build. We're going for full melee. Next perk is Furious Strikes. Hitting an enemy with an attack after a jump pack dash, which was jump pack's ability charged by 1. The cooldown is 10 seconds. This is a new perk to patch 12 and one of the best perks on Assault in the entire game. Probably the best perk in its entire gear tree currently, if I'm being honest, because with this perk active, you can go jetpack positive off the perk down here, Commitment. This one will give you back a free jump pack charge on a jump pack dash, and if you do a free jump pack dash into a free jump pack dash attack from this, you can then go up 1 jump pack from this perk, so you're going like a 1 positive. Really powerful interaction. And next perk we take here is just to make this even better and more enabled with Wings of Flame. A jump pack dash damages enemies along trajectory and always works as a perfect dodge when dodging an attack. This just makes you deal free damage on your jump pack dash. You can pretty much eliminate a Karn effects entirely on your own with just this perk. It's kind of hilarious how much they get bodied now, but Wings of Flame is that strong and makes your whole like Furious Strikes Commitment combo way easier. Next perk here is Aerial Grace. After a perfect time dodge using a jump pack dash, you deal 30% more damage for 10 seconds. This is just another free damage increase for us on a jump pack dash. This will affect your Power Fist, and you will just do even more insane charge attack damage. So that's like the entire build here for our tree, and we obviously take Commitment here because without that, Wings of Flame like hardly works at all. Now, for the Prestige perk tree, you have a couple options in the first row here. I would say Unyielding Oath and Duelist are your best bet. The Duelist can be pretty good if like you aren't very comfortable with the timings here, but really the balanced parry windows don't benefit from this remotely as much as say like a block window, because balanced weapons in Space Marine 2 do not have a 0 frame startup, which means immediately upon pressing your parry key, you will not get a parry, so just keep that in mind. Balanced windows have a 10 frame negative startup, so you have to preemptively hit your parry key, and this will only affect the actual active window there. Now, Unyielding Oath is nice for invulnerability on your ground pound trajectory for 3 seconds. This pretty much makes you able to go through Zoanthrope balls, Zoanthrope waves, Zoanthrope beams, Neurothrope waves, and also things like Missile Terminator volleys. So a really good utility perk, and it really is up to you which one you want first. Next perk here I would take no matter what, and that's Fortitude for health increase of 15%. And then you can pick up Scramble Targeting or Practice Aim. This is also up to you. This just gives you a free range damage reduction of being surrounded by 5 or more enemies, which happens all the time in this game. And this just gives you a little bit more range damage. The final perk I would also always pick up, which is Hammer of Wrath. After using your jump pack, you take 30% less range damage, and you do not withdraw from heavy hits, and you cannot be knocked back for 15 seconds. This gives you no knockback pretty much your entire game on top of a 30% range damage reduction. This perk used to be in the Furious Strike spot. They actually moved it to the Prestige perk tree in patch 12. It is one of the best Prestige perk options in the whole game now, so definitely grab this. It is kind of like replaced Adrenaline Boost up here, and that's pretty much all there is for this build, guys. The Balanced Power Fist really is that heavy hitting now, and to be honest, this build will work with like any melee weapon in the game, because Chainsword, Thunderhammer, Power Sword, Power Axe, it doesn't matter. Furious Strikes and Wings of Flame with commitment is just that strong right now, and pretty much all of those weapons will benefit from things like Overcharge or Active Attrition and Strategic Strikes. But whatever you want to build with, that is up to you. Hey guys, first regardsman here, and so I'll be talking about a Heroic Chainsword build for the Assault class in Space Marine 2 patch 12.0 for the Tech Marine update. Now, this update not only buffed up the Heroic Chainsword, it also buffed up the Assault massively. We now have a new perk, we have a new Prestige perk, and we have a new animation cancel off this Jump Pack Dash. We'll be talking about all of that today. So, number one, the Heroic Chainsword. Both the Heroic Chainsword and the Xenophase Blade got a base damage buff here of like 10%, and they feel way better now. The Chainsword here is a 20 strength at this moment, and it feels very strong. If you take the perk here, Overcharge, for a 25% multiplicative melee damage increase on top of that, you're going to be hitting like a truck, because the heroic perk effect on this weapon is called Fist Fight. You can perform an additional heavy attack after a quick punch. Also, a front kick is replaced with a quick punch, and all heavy attacks deal 15% more damage. So basically what this perk lets you do is, number one, more heavy attack damage, but you'll also be able to combo skip into a stomp far more quickly, because you can go from like a light into a heavy into a stomp into another stomp if you take the perk here, Trampling Stride, which is like the only time I would ever take this perk, because this one gives you an additional stomp, which is really not that useful for like most variants of this weapon. But on the newly buffed balanced version and the Heroic Chainsword, I think it's actually pretty damn good, so I do take this perk now. Now, for the rest of our perk tree here, I do take Perpetual Strength first, moving here into the perk Swift Recovery. Heavy attacks restore 100% more contested health, applies to the following attacks: Quick Punch, Front Kick, Shoulder Bash, and Stomp. This is just double CHP regen on your heavy attacks, and pretty much all you do on this weapon is heavy attacks, so kind of a no-brainer. It's also just one of the best CHP perks in the entire game anyways. And the next perk here is Perpetual Strength, and Perpetual Strength again for a 10% melee damage buff. Then I pick up the perk Reverberating Impact. Stomp AoE radius increases by 50%. I mean, we are going for a stomp build. The stomps are very powerful on this weapon, so having this is kind of a no-brainer as well, because more radius means you can even like stomp things like Zoanthropes and Neurothropes out of the sky, which is pretty funny. Next perk here is Combined Onslaught, up here into the perk Trampling Stride for the reasons I previously mentioned. And then I go down to the perk Heavy Onslaught for even more heavy attack damage. Then we go through here into Minoris Slayer and Extremis Slayer. If you want to skip over these, you could go up here for things like Hard Target and the perk Majora's Slayer, but that is up to you. And that's pretty much all there is for the Heroic Chainsword. Now, for the secondary, I did take a Heroic Heavy Bolt Pistol. This is still the highest gun strike damage in the entire game, and for the perk tree, we are pretty much just going all the way down the bottom tree now, because we're going to take Able Damage and the perk Death Strike, because Death Strike reads, after killing a Majora's level or higher enemy in melee combat, you will deal 25% more damage for 10 seconds. This perk will trigger on not just a melee kill, but also a melee finisher, so keep that in mind. But to actually trigger this, you do have to have the weapon equipped, but on the Assault, we don't have a primary, so that's not really an issue anyways, so a really good option for him. Next perk is Great Might, going into the most important perk, Able Damage. After using class ability, damage increases by 20% for 10 seconds. I just take this because, number one, we are a Wings of Flame build, and you will be using your Jump Pack Dash all the damn time on Assault these days. Furious Strikes gives you so many free charges, and this perk on top of that with Aerial Grace, that'll give you like a 50% buff every single time you perfect dodge or just use your jump pack at all for the 20% buff on this. I mean, it's just a great perk, great synergy. I pretty much always go this way for like Wings of Flame builds. Next perk here is Home Precision, up here into the perk Gunstrike Reload. Then I pick up the perk Tactical Precision for headshots dealing 20% more damage and non-headshot damage decreasing by 10%, which really does not matter at all, because headshot damage is all that matters on this weapon. Also, one final thing about the Heroic Heavy Bolt Pistol here is that the perk effect No Help Is Coming is fixed this patch. It used to not work on the body shots in patch 11. They did actually fix that. Now it works on headshots and body shots, but only headshots we know one-shot the guys, but still a pretty good option. Now, for the perk tree, this is where Assault kind of gets nuts. Number one, we take Overcharge. Damage from held and charged melee attacks increases by 25%. If you're playing the Heroic Chainsword, just take this perk. There's not really much reason not to. It's kind of like the fundamental synergy of the whole build. This is one of the best melee perks in the entire game, because Space Marine 2 separates melee damage into like two categories of multiplicative or additive. I mean, that's not like exclusive to Space Marine 2. Obviously, a lot of games do that, but in this game, some perks are multiplicative, and this is one of the rare few that are, so definitely pick this one up. Next perk here is Defense Mechanism. Contested health fades 50% more slowly. I would definitely pick this up if you're taking Overcharge, because You are pretty squishy, or I should say less safe on this build because Overcharge does make you give up armor reinforcement, which is a much safer way to play the game, but Defense Mechanism can kind of make up for that. Next perk here is Active Attrition. Enemies hit by damage from melee attacks, execute while sprinting or dashing, take 25% more damage for 5 seconds. This perk just applies a free debuff to the enemy for 5 seconds. On a dash attack, it'll just give them a 25% damage taken from all sources, your teammates, and your gun strikes. So a really great catch-all. If you want to take knowledge of the enemy, you definitely can. Next perk here, Strategic Strikes for even more melee damage against Extremis and Terminus, and then we move into the god tier perk combo of Furious Strikes and Commitment. This perk is new to patch 12. Hitting an enemy with the attack after a jump pack dash restores jump pack ability charge by 1. The cooldown is 10 seconds. This perk is on crack. It is so damn valuable for so many goddamn reasons. And we're going to go through all of them today. So number 1, you can go jetpack positive with this perk. If you get a perfect dodge off of Commitment and get your jetpack refunded off of this one, you can then do a free dash attack off of that free jump pack to trigger this perk as well. And now you are effectively up a jump pack. So really useful for that. And on top of that, we also have the brand new Hammer of Wrath perk. I mean, not like brand new, but the new prestige perk, Hammer of Wrath, that gives you a 30% range damage reduction on every single jump pack use, including your Wings of Flame jump pack dash, and you also get a no knockback effect for 15 seconds. So you'll be constantly triggering that over and over for free, and this is just such a powerful perk at the moment. In fact, it's so powerful, I have to wonder if they shouldn't have made this a base feature of the class, because playing without it kind of sucks at this point. Because really, in the worst case scenario, this is a gap close for free where you just hit your jump pack, you dash into the enemy, you hit a guy in the face. It doesn't matter if it's a Majoris or Minoris, you'll just get a free jump pack back every 10 seconds. So really good for triggering perk effects and dealing free damage off of Wings of Flame, because Wings of Flame says a jump pack dash damages enemies along trajectory and always works as a perfect dodge when dodging an attack. This is just free damage and a free damage enabler for this entire build. It makes everything function more smoothly. You do not have to take this perk to use the Furious Strikes and Commitment combo, though I do think it's best with it because Wings of Flame against bosses like the Hellbrute and the Carnifex, it's just free damage, and free damage is just free damage, and on top of that, it makes triggering your free jump packs far easier. Next perk here is a 30% damage buff for 10 seconds on jump pack use, and the final one is Commitment to get a free jump pack on a perfect dodge or jump pack dash. I mean, if you don't have this perk, your jump pack dash just kind of sucks, or you're going to be relying on this entirely, so definitely pick it up. Now, for our Prestige perk list, I do take Unyielding Oath first, moving here into the perk Fortitude. Then you can pick up Scramble Targeting or Practice Aim, and the perk I would always pick up is Hammer of Wrath, because Hammer of Wrath is just the best no knockback option on Assault now, because Adrenaline Boost has been kind of power crept by this one, in my opinion. That's pretty much all there is for this build, guys. The Heroic Chainsword kind of hits like a truck. It feels really good, or at least way better than it did in patch 11. It may not be like the #1 option on the Assault, but it is quite strong, and in a Wings of Flame build, really anything works at the moment. So hopefully this build guide helped you, and if you like content like this, subscribe for more, and as always, thank you for watching. Take it easy. Bye.